Hello and welcome to another episode of the Farr Show where I'm Damien Farr, and tonight we are talking about the films of the year. But we're doing a special spin that we're only going to do one time and one time only. I say that now, but you know, eventually we'll probably do it again. So we're going to talk, for this one, we're going to do my favorite films every year since I've been born. So 1995 is when I was born. We're doing all in 1995. We're not just going to do, you know, September 18th and then on, because that'd be ridiculous. So we're going to do my favorite film from each year, going from 1995 to 2022. I know what you're saying. It's 2023, Damien. Well, I wanted to make sure I got every movie that I needed in here. So we're going to start off here. We're going to just put in the time codes. We're going to do 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s type thing. So this is the definitive picks for all of them. I have a couple on here, and I will list them all off here, which ones I have written down. That's not saying they're all the best movies of the year. These are just my personal picks that I would pick for film of the year. So, 1995 is actually an easy one. We got just GoldenEye 007. I actually really love GoldenEye. I don't know why. The movie is nowhere near as great as the game, you know, that it is based off of, but still good enough that I need to play it. I mean, watch. This is the best of the Pierce Brosnan movies, honestly, hands down, for James Bond. And I've watched every James Bond movie, as we talked about previously. So, then we got 1996, we got Independence Day or Space Jam. Personally, these are the two that I would pick. And I know what you're thinking, Damien, only two? Not every year's going to have a lot of movies, because 1995 to me was not a great year. 1996 was alright here. I would put down Independence Day just because I rewatch Independence Day every year. I mean, you know, I rewatch it every year. So, on 4th of July, for obvious reasons. So, then we get 1997, and I think this one's considerably harder than Independence Day and Space Jam. We got The Fifth Element and Titanic. I love Titanic. I don't know why I love Titanic either. I just really love Titanic. But I also really love The Fifth Element. But if I had to pick between one or the other, I think I'd go Titanic just by a hair. So we get Titanic for 1997. Then for 1998, we got Armageddon, Rush Hour, Saving Private Ryan, The Big Lebowski, and The Truman Show. For these ones, this may not be the answer that everybody wants to hear, but I'd go Armageddon. Armageddon is my favorite bad movie of all time, I would say. So, Armageddon it is. Then we got 1999. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and The Iron Giant. And we don't talk about it. Fight Club! I'd go Fight Club as my favorite movie that year. Then 2000s. We're going to 2000 now, so let's look at this camera, I guess. Mix it up a bit. I have only one written down here, and I wouldn't even say this is the greatest movie of the year, but it's one that stood out for me, which is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I really enjoy that movie. I don't know why I do, but I really do. So, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And I know what you're thinking, Damien, you're not really going to explanations of these movies. Let's be honest. Any of these movies you can just Google and figure out a quick synopsis, but there's so many years that I have to go through that we don't really have much time to talk about them. 2001, we got Not Another Teen Movie and Rush Hour 2. Not Another Teen Movie is just a parody movie, but this is the best parody movie. So, Not Another Teen Movie it is, even though I love Rush Hour 2. Then 2002, the only one I got here is Catch Me If You Can. So, guess Catch Me If You Can wins. Then 2003, I got The Rundown. That's the only one I have here as well. Awkward. The Rundown, I personally have a bias towards because I named a show after that for a bit there. So, The Rundown, cool. Then, 2004, we got iRobot, The Incredibles, and the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. I played the shit out of the SpongeBob SquarePants video game. iRobot, though, would probably be number one here, but I feel like with Will Smith's recent actions, part of me wants to put it down. But every time I play Halo 4, I think of the iRobot scene with the tunnels and everything. I'd have to go iRobot, then SpongeBob, then Incredibles. They're all good movies, but I have to go, once again, iRobot. Then we got Fun with Dick and Jane, Hitch, Just Friends, Star Wars Episode 3, The Revenge of the Sith, Thank You for Smoking and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is probably the best year of any of these years that is going to happen here. Fun with Dick and Jane is amazing. Hitch is also amazing. Hitch is one of my most rewatched movies ever, actually. Anytime it's on TV, it's just one of those ones that I just end up watching. Just Friends, I didn't think was that good until I became older and thought this movie's hilarious. Ryan Reynolds' best role, other than Green Lantern. Episode 3 is my favorite Star Wars movie, probably. It's the first one I saw in the theater, so... Thank You for Smoking is just the greatest dry comedy I would say ever made, and then The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is my favorite book. So, I'm gonna regret anything picking here, but I think I'm gonna go with, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and then Thank You for Smoking. I can't really pick two, though. This one hurts just picking, honestly. I want to put Hitch, but I already put a Will Smith movie in there, so I don't want to do that. I think I'm going to go... Because, honestly, Fun with Dick and Jane, Hitch, and Just Friends are just pretty much comedy movies. Romantic comedies to an extent. Star Wars Episode 3 is maybe my favorite Star Wars movie. Thank You for Smoking and Hitchhiker's Guide. I'm going to go Hitchhiker's Guide because without it, I would have never read the book. And the book is my favorite book of all time, probably. Or one of them, at least. So we'll go Hitchhiker's Guide. I'm not going to rank the rest because that'll be too hard. We'll be here for hours. 2006, we got Casino Royale, 007, and 300. Come on, we already know the answer. It's Casino Royale. Let's just move on. 2007, we got Transformers. That's the only one I got here. That movie was amazing. I saw it. I think that was the most I saw a movie at a theater for a long time there. I think it was like 5 times. First time I saw a drive-in movie theater, and the only time I saw a drive-in movie theater, so that was cool. Then we got 2008, where we got Hancock, Indiana Jones, and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which I know isn't that great looking back. Leatherheads, The Dark Knight, The Incredible Hulk, which a lot of people don't like, but I really love. Tropic Thunder, and then WALL-E. I think for this one, I gotta go with Tropic Thunder is number 1. So, then we got 2009, where we get Zombieland and 500 Days of Summer. You're taking one of my favorite action comedies and one of my favorite romantic comedies and putting them against each other. I'm going to have to go with Zombieland just because it was such a big name cast, but they weren't big named at the time, weirdly enough. They became big named after this movie and then made a sequel, which we'll talk about in a bit. So, then we got Inception, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Tron Legacy. And I'm going against the grain, Tron Legacy. I love this movie. I don't know why I love this movie so much, but this movie, I love it. I love anytime I can watch Tron Legacy, I love watching it. Is the plot the greatest? No. Is the special effects live up? They live up for the most part. The young Jeff Bridges doesn't work as well as it should have, but, you know. 2011, we got Captain America, the First Avenger, and we got Transformers Dark of the Moon. This one, I would go Captain America, and we're going to hit a lot of Marvel movies here soon, so just want to make that known. Marvel movies are going to start dominating because I constantly watch superhero movies, and I'm excited to watch them, so... And we already picked Transformers at the beginning, so... Then we got Skyfall and The Amazing Spider-Man. Skyfall is a great James Bond movie, but I prefer Casino Royale and GoldenEye. So, I'm going to go Amazing Spider-Man. Especially because I'm slowly trying to make the romantic comedy version of Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. 2013, we just have Iron Man 3. Just let's move on. I think I was going to originally put Avengers Age of Ultron in here, but I just never did for whatever reason. I don't know why I didn't do that. Because I do really like Avengers Endgame, but I think part of the Joss Whedon thing made me remove it mentally. Or, excuse me, Avengers Age of Ultron, but actually it looks like it comes out later, so I'm just stupid. Then we got Guardians of the Galaxy, Interstellar, and Amazing Spider-Man 2 for 2014. I'm gonna go Interstellar. This movie was a really good space movie, is the best way to describe it. Then we got 2015, Avengers Age of Ultron, Creed, Star Wars The Force Awakens, and The Martian. Honestly, no offense to Age of Ultron, that one's out right away. As much as I love that and think it's one of the better Avengers movies, I think it's actually probably the best if you don't include Endgame and Infinity War as one movie. So, I got something in my eye here. That's awkward. So going back to it here, Creed is so good, but The Martian has to take the cake here. The Martian is the movie that made me understand what a GoPro is, for lack of a better term, and I used a GoPro a lot here. I use this now, but the GoPro was at one point a fixture of this set. Then we got 2016, where we got Deadpool and Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Rogue One still holds up really well. Deadpool, as much as I enjoy Deadpool, more rewatches make it less enjoyable, I would say. It's still good, but it's not as good. So I'm going to go Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. Then we got Blade Runner 2049, Dunkirk, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Justice League. Don't worry, we'll get to the other one. I put it in here because I enjoyed the original one to an extent. Kingsman: The Golden Circle, Kong Skull Island, Logan, Spider-Man: Homecoming, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, Thor: Ragnarok, and Wonder Woman. And these were ones that I had in my top 10. So since then, my actual, interest in stuff has changed a bit. So this one, I gotta go personally with Kong Skull Island. This is the one that I've watched the most. The cast just makes this movie. The movie itself, just generic monster movie. Just go to an island, find monster type thing. But still, nonetheless, love it. Then we got 2018, where we got A Quiet Place, Star is Born, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Avengers Infinity War, Black Panther, Creed 2, Deadpool 2, Incredibles 2, Mission Impossible Fallout, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and Venom. This one, I gotta go Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. That's my favorite animated movie of all time, and it just puts all these other movies to shame, in my opinion. 2019, we got Avengers Endgame, Ford vs. Ferrari, Hobbs and Shaw, Joker, Jumanji: The Next Level, Knives Out, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Shazam, Spider-Man: Far From Home. I even put The Rise of Skywalker in here, and Zombieland Double Tap. Honestly, I want to put Spider-Man: Far From Home, but I think I gotta go Zombieland Double Tap as the best movie of that year. I know what you're thinking, Damien, Avengers Endgame is in there? Yes, Avengers Endgame is in there, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is also one of my favorite movies of all time. But if I had to pick one movie for years, the one that I say I'd watch the most, honestly, if I'm being honest here, is going to be Zombieland Double Tap. I like all these movies, once again. 2012, which had a lower year, so I think there was only like 10 movies... or 2020, excuse me, which had a lower number count here, but I think there was only a couple movies that year. So, we got An American Pickle, Bad Boys for Life, Bill and Ted Face the Music, Birds of Prey, Doolittle, Onward, Sonic, Palm Springs, Tenet, The New Mutants, and 1917. Once again, this is taking from my top 10, but there was so little movies that came out. Some of the worst ones were in the top 10. This one, I'll go 1917 just because Tenet kind of let me down. The sound mixing wasn't great, so just kind of let me down there. 2021, here we go. We got A Quiet Place Part 2, House of Gucci, Last Night in Soho, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man No Way Home, The Last Duel, The Suicide Squad, Tom Clancy's Without Remorse, and Zack Snyder's Justice League. I gotta go No Way Home. I mean, you knew it was coming, so... Now, we're into 2022, where we're gonna do the top 10 worst movies first, and then the top 10 best. So, let's start off here with the 10th worst movie of the year that I saw, and that's Jurassic World Dominion. Honestly, this movie was not good. Then we got Smile, where the concept was a cool idea, but in the end wasn't worth watching at all. I did put down surprisingly good acting here, which, cool. Then we got Deep Water, where it's like an open relationship and the husband murders his wife's lovers, which is really weird that he wouldn't just, tell his wife he doesn't want an open relationship and actually have sex with her, I guess. Because it seems he just doesn't want to have sex with her. It's really weird. Then we got the Adam Project. Deadpool 2.5 is what I put here. And the Ryan Reynolds shtick, as I said in the video, is getting old. Then we got Blonde, where Ana de Armas is great. The color to black and white and also the aspect ratio changing just ruins it for me. Also, the movie is really long. So, it happens. We get those bad movies here and there. Obviously, this is on the wrong side of the list, but Morbius. So bad, it's good. The new Spider-Man universe with other Spider-Mans is my thing. I think all the Spider-Men are going to be there. Then we got Sonic the Hedgehog 2, where it's a dumb kids movie and Jim Carrey's barely in it. We got Samaritan, which I didn't even finish this one. It was on Prime Video, didn't finish it, just couldn't get into it. Then we got Disney's Pinocchio, which I didn't even finish it either. And the biggest question I had was, there's 2 in 1 year, so I never watched the Guillermo del Toro's one, but I heard that was considerably better. But after watching this one, I didn't want to watch another one. Then we got finally the worst one here that I put in, My Policeman. I wanted to see it for Harry Styles, and 20 minutes in, he finally showed up and was disappointed. So, that sucks. So those are the worst movies of 2022. Let's go all the way up to the top here, where we're talking the 10 best movies of 2022. We got The Northman, which was considerably better than I expected. And I love Anna Taylor-Joy. She's one of the best, I'd say, young actresses under 30 working today. I got Don't Worry Darling, which a lot of people didn't like, but I honestly loved. The cast was really good. Harry Styles acting, not that great, but still good enough, passable. Then The Huge Twist was pretty good. I'll give him that. We got Violent Night, where David Harbour made the film so much greater, and then I'm really hoping for the sequel, Too Violent, Two Nights. We got Bullet Train. The action was great, and then I also have Two Bullets, Two Trains. I made that joke first, and then Too Violent, Two Nights, because I just keep thinking of Fast and the Furious for some reason. We got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and I said Sam Raimi needs to make more Marvel movies, and she did them wrong. Then we got Avatar: The Way of Water. I said it was better than the first, but I think it should have been cut just a hair. It definitely is better in 3D, if I'm being honest. We got Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Daniel Radcliffe is amazing, and was this the best parody ever? I mean, it might even top not another teen movie. Then we got Amsterdam, which I'm thinking best picture. Great cast as well, which other than Taylor Swift, who got hit by a car pretty early on. Now this one I'm putting a cop-out here. I shouldn't really put this here, but we got Spider-Man No Way Home, the More Fun Stuff edition, or the More Fun Stuff version, which I really loved. I think is better version than the original, and I know I'm itching my eye here. That's awkward. I think it's better. The interviews are a bit out of place, but everything else flowed so well with it. I didn't know they added scenes at points. Then finally, this one is going to be a controversial one. Uncharted. This was my favorite movie of the year. Tom and Mark Wahlberg actually have great chemistry. I'll give them that. Now, do I think it's a great Uncharted movie? Let's be honest, it's not a great Uncharted movie. But if you're there to see just an action movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg and you don't know the games, this was good. If you know the games, it probably wasn't as good. Huge fan of the games. But I would still say I love the movie. I mean, I even got the ring on. That came with the Blu-ray, the Steelbook Blu-ray. So, honestly, personally, I say Uncharted is my favorite movie of the year. So, tell me in the comments below, what is your favorite movie of each year since you've been born? And what's the worst movie of 2022? I didn't do worst movies of every year because that's depressing, honestly. So, we just did 2022. Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and have a far off night.